discussion on optimizing energy management and building automation. The presentation today is for operational, facility, and IT leaders to hear about the changing energy marketplace and some potential options to help be more efficient on that front and some of the latest smart automation technologies to optimize performance of your buildings. Before we start, some housekeeping. Everyone's on mute. You do have the opportunity to put a question in the chat, and we'll try to get to it at the end of the session. We do have some questions that came from the field, so we'll try to fit those in throughout the presentation or at the end of the webinar. Webinar is going to go about 45 minutes, and then we will share the information afterwards. I'm Rob Stojanowski from Mejeticks. I'm based here in the Northeast area, and we're a technology consulting firm that focuses on our clients' challenges. We use engineering resources to help us create a solution that is in partnership with your team to find the right fit from both a supplier and a cost without impacting your P&L. And we can do that because we partner with over 400 companies across the technology landscape. One of those partners we work with is Abundant IoT. And I have some gentlemen here that'll be doing the presentation for us. Abundant IoT is a leader in the building automation and energy procurement marketplace. So they were the obvious choice for us to bring to this webinar and help us discuss this topic. Joining us today is Jerry Tadino, Vice President of Business Development, and Danny Fassino, Senior Vice President of Operations for Abundance. So with that, Danny, I will hand it over to you to kick us off.
Great. Thanks, Rob. I want to just kind of go over a little bit in regard to the Abundant IoT product line. I'm going to go through this really quick to just kind of make you guys understand. We have a robust product line with a lot of different products. We're an energy company. We came from the telecom, IT, and cloud background, so that's why we know Rob. But Abundant IoT has been around for about 5 years, and we're focused on the energy side of the business. For customers, how we usually start the conversation is gas and electric procurement. It's been around for a long time, probably 15 plus years. We actually find out a lot of different things in regard to gas and electric procurement and water. So usually when we talk to customers, we start with basically getting their gas, electric, and water bills. Pretty simple process, but once we kind of take a look at that process, it's a free analysis. We actually will go through and see how you're using your electric and gas, peak times, different types of things that are going on. So I just want to kind of go around the horn in regard to different things that we do and see if this, we kind of look at customers and see what kind of pain points they have and see where they're spending a lot of money. So that's why we always look for the gas, electric, and water bills to start the process. So if we start from the bottom right, we do a lot of stuff with on-site generation. We're a distributor for a lot of different generator companies, from diesel generators to hydrogen, gas, fuel cell, linear generators. You name a generator, we pretty much do it. We do a lot of stuff with battery backup, energy storage. We're getting involved in nuclear. And we also do demand response. And I don't know if anyone knows what demand response is, but demand response is, since the power crisis has been going on with a lot of things that are going on with the power crisis and the grid, if we have customers that want to turn on their generators or their batteries, they actually could get paid on that side. So basically, if you're using your battery and your generator and you go off the grid, we have companies that'll actually pay you to go off the grid to do that. So it's pretty enticing, and you can make some decent money if it's a decent manufacturing facility or a data center or whatever the case is. There's a lot of opportunities on that side. So just kind of think of that side. We do EV charging stations. We have some pretty cool products on the power conditioning side, harmonic filters that'll save somewhere in the area about 10% on your electric bills. Um, we do ESG. ESG, if no one understands that, it's environmental social governance. That's what it stands for. We do a lot of stuff with sustainability. We evaluate different things to basically help them with energy consumption. See if we could, we have engineers on staff that'll actually go out to the facility and see if we could help you with sustainabilities. I mentioned to you about electricity and natural gas procurement. That's how we kind of start the conversation. If you're involved with nursing homes, assisted livings, independent livings, we have air filtration systems, ultraviolet rays that get rid of the germs. We get involved in solar. Pretty much could do any type of solar, from rooftop to floating to ground to flexible. Community solar. Solar is a kind of a different animal. We could kind of go through that too, but it's only in particular areas where you could save between 5 to 15% on your electric bills also. But you have to be in particular areas, and it has to become available. And it goes very quickly because it's an automatic savings on your bill. So it comes from the solar farms if you're interested in community solar, just to give you an idea. To go to the bottom middle, we deal with a lot of devices, IoT sensor devices for buildings, for any type of sensor we deal with, from leak detection to temperature, anything you can think of in regard to sensors. I think we have probably somewhere in there about 300 different types of sensors. Um, we do physical security also. Uh, we do a fleet and asset tracking where we do a lot of stuff with fleet management. If you have trucks, from a couple trucks to thousands of trucks, we could actually monitor that for you with GPS and dash cams. We get involved in the wireless side of the business with global SIMs and cellular. Like I said, we have some really cool products with water conservation where we actually save companies 20, 30% on their water if you use a lot of water. Breweries are a great example of using a lot of water. Sometimes the PGA with the water systems where they have to keep the grass green. That's a pretty good application also. But water conservation is a pretty big thing where a lot of our customers, we save them a lot of money in regard to that. And we could finance the deal too, and we could, you could dish out the money also. So we have financing available on all these types of products, especially on the generator side and the battery backup and all that stuff. If you're dealing with manufacturing too, we go in and actually evaluate your HVAC systems. We have a pretty cool product where we could actually do HVAC systems and building controls. It doesn't cost the manufacturing company any money. We'll evaluate their HVAC and LEDs. We'll install it and we'll finance it for them. And over a period of, it all depends on how big or how small the system is. The ROI is a certain amount of years, but you won't have to dish in anything. So if you have a 30-year-old or 40-year-old HVAC system, you need to change it. We would actually go in there and change the LEDs, change the HVAC systems, and we could finance the deal so there's no out-of-pocket expense for you also. So that's pretty interesting too. And we deal a lot of stuff with IoT networks also, with LongFi and LoRaWAN and all that stuff too. So just to kind of give you an idea of all the different things that we do, like I said, we have a pretty robust product line. I could go into a lot of different products. I think we have somewhere in the area about 70 or so products and counting. I'm the Senior Vice President of Operations, so I deal with a lot of the vendor management. We evaluate with the CTO a lot of technologies that we look at and see if the technology is suitable. We just came up with just a product just recently with regard to freezing of the water for data centers, where will actually reduce thermal energy by like 30 to 40%. We were just out in Vegas in a show, and they were actually in our booth. It's a pretty cool product that I think if you use a lot of water, you could actually freeze that water and make it more beneficial. Um, so that's a wrap in regard to what I'm gonna tell you. Jerry's gonna pretty much now bring on, and he'll explain to you some other different things that we do in regard to sustainability.
Well, thanks, Danny. Thanks for the overview and stealing most of my thunder, but that's okay. I want to thank the team at Mejeticks for helping put this little narrative together and provide some educational messaging for everyone. I appreciate everybody jumping on as well. I know it's a very busy schedule. I want to walk through real quickly how our background in telecom helped evolve with organizations reducing facility costs, improve efficiency, and support ESG goals, which are becoming more and more prevalent. But most importantly, want to point out how these items relate more or less to your environment. I started, well, Danny and I both started, as we mentioned, in voice and data, which evolved into IT and cloud and cybersecurity, working with many multi-location companies. The focus really was straightforward: managing complex environments, reducing costs, and bringing clarity to something that folks didn't fully understand. And this is prevalent for the last, I've been in this industry since 1982. So you do the math, for the last 45 years, it's been very, very evident. We consistently found billing errors, unused services, overlapping vendors, and hence the need for consultants like Mejeticks, who could one stop. You work with them, they can help you with where you're overspending time and money. Most organizations do not have the visibility or the time to manage these very important elements. The biggest takeaway I recall from my days in telecom wasn't just cost savings. It was really visibility. People didn't know what they were spending money on. But once you have the clear data in front of you, you can find and see that optimization is right there, and you just need the path to success. That led really to a simple realization. Telecom wasn't just one piece. Energy facility infrastructure had the same issues, but to a much larger scale. We were saving people thousands of dollars, per month. With these particular elements, we're saving hundreds of thousands of dollars per year. That's a big number. Facilities often lose money in ways that just aren't obvious to them. Danny mentioned a few. I'll get into a couple as well. Once we applied the same telecom discipline by totally auditing, monitoring, and benchmarking energy and facilities, it became quite evident that this is a great way to go. Um, I'll start this right here. The shift in enterprise infrastructure is pretty much exactly what I just mentioned. We dealt in telecom. Now we're in a different area. The shift here, as you may or may not, as you should know, that in costs, the utility costs are the second largest for a company today, behind payroll. You really need to pay attention to this. The financial pressure is evident, whether you're helping people save money or trying to make sure that you're hiring the right people. I mentioned the facilities folks here. The teams are short-staffed. The resources are short-staffed. The ESG mandate, we'd love to talk to you about more of that. You can Google it and see what exactly it is. But that's something that's emanating from organizations, from the government, from shareholders. The IT convergence, everything is coming together. So this is an area where you really need to pay close attention to. Hidden liabilities. My opinion is that you cannot do nothing. Now, I went to private school from kindergarten through college, and I know that when you put two negatives together, it equals a positive. So remember that. You cannot do nothing. Do something. When was the last time you had a utility audit? Don't know? Well, we can help you with that. Mejeticks is a fine auditing company. They can show you areas where you need to get facilities help, cut costs, and definitely be proactive, not reactive. These numbers are for sure. These are not made up. We can really help here. This curve is very, very unique. As you can see, energy costs are just rising. These are areas that are within our realm that we can help control. Um, the this is there is a sense of urgency here. There's a lot of unpredictability, and these statistics are proven. And look how they're forecasting. I live in New Jersey. Rates are climbing 20% every quarter for the last 3 quarters, and we really don't see an end in sight, unfortunately. This is going to be really an area here that shows you where we can help. The visibility part, as I'd mentioned previously, is critical to all decision makers, facilities, directors, C-level folks. Maintenance. We had mentioned and spoken about IoT devices. Yep, we can help predict and measure when you need maintenance done, when the energy is being consumed, how it's being consumed, areas where we can show you where we can find and identify true savings. And whether you have the money to invest or you can put this through an OPEX model and receive an ROI almost immediately. Smart building, one of my favorite new terms. What is a smart building? It's building owners or facilities managers who know what they're doing with the data that's being provided. The issue is get me the data. The IoT sensors that we spoke about are critical. Now, we use a term called AI, which is uh, very, very prevalent today. These IoT sensors are installed and they can work pretty much anywhere and help with air quality, equipment maintenance, water flow, battery storage and backup, water consumption, measuring kilowatt hours to determine where the big, large energy consumers are and what we can do to help alleviate the pain there, help with machinery costs or preventive maintenance. And some of the other areas are humidity and temperature control, which are very important in the manufacturers as well as hotels, uh, any assisted living areas. Occupancy and motion is another sensor that we can use and use efficiently. I love this slide. The automation flywheel. Basically, it's a summary with automation being the key to success. Automation is huge today. Predictive maintenance from an optimization perspective, I spoke about that. We need to monitor what's going on and analyze and then act on it. Those are the areas that we find that are important to every decision maker, specifically when it comes to sustainability and making things happen. You cannot do nothing. The deliverables include helping maintenance, especially with equipment. I spoke about that. It's an indirect cost savings. However, what's real is the 15 to 30% savings that we see by installing the IoT devices, such as harmonic filters and water consumption. Personally, I worked on a food processing company where we saved them 24% on their water bill. Their water bill was $225,000 a month, and the ROI was 8 months, and the initial cost was $62,000. The ROI more than paid for itself. Obviously, it had a sustainability impact because we could save them water. Water as a natural resource, energy as a natural resource are areas that we love to focus in on, and so should you.
Hey, Jerry.
Yes.
Question. What's the most surprising thing that your customers come to you or discover about their own buildings once you put some of these sensors in there and they go live and the data starts flowing?
Well, I've had a few. Um, I'll just use myself for an example.
Hmm.
One of the things that I didn't know, and Danny referred to it earlier, is that you could actually um, create a revenue stream from demand response, which
Hmm.
was very interesting. He spoke about that, on and off the grid. That was something that was really very interesting. Um, One other thing that one of my facilities folks did not know that they could really sit how much energy they were using at night off peak, even though the machine or the building was off, the heating and cooling were also running unnecessarily at the same time. So that's energy consumption that an IoT device can help and turn things off, and the building owner, even though it was 2 o'clock in the morning, they were actually using energy. But the device can help control or shut off what was being used. Um, One thing that's really working for us in our favor right now are the financial incentives and rebates that are out there that folks don't know about. So the areas like what Dan had mentioned about HVAC, um, they can take advantage up to, I mean, I'd say maybe 30, sometimes 30 to 50% of your initial cost can be incentivized through rebates and financial areas. Some of that's going away, so there is a sense of urgency to get that done. That's where the part where Magetics comes in from an educational perspective, and us as being one of the providers for you, alert you to that and what you can do, and then refer to your client base.
Just to
Danny, I don't know
jump
if you
in,
have
Jerry,
anything else you want to add.
just to jump in, something like cold storage that's on 24/7. There's sensors that could actually lower the temperature, and sometimes lowering the temperature by just a few degrees, like at nighttime when you're not there, could be really energy efficient too. And these sensors will actually do that automatically for you. So if you're involved with cold storage where the freezers are on all the time in big manufacturing facilities, a lot of times these sensors will actually lower the temperature a little bit at night, so you still keep the freezers in good shape, but lowering that temperature by a few degrees, surprisingly, actually is a pretty good savings in regard to that. So that's what these sensors could do. There's a lot of things they could do. We're playing a more proactive role than a reactive role. So that's the key part about it, I think, is the proactiveness of doing these things with sensors, so you don't have to worry about if something, if you have a major leak and it goes, if you have multiple stories, it'll damage and it'll cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars. Then your insurance premiums will go up. With these sensors, it'll prevent that stuff. And actually, with a lot of these sensors for insurance purposes, you'll save money on the insurance side of the business also. So just to give you a little idea of different types of sensors being proactive compared to reactive.
Great, thanks.
Perfect. I'm going to pause right now. If there are any any questions or something that may need more clarity, love to
We
talk
did get
about it
a
before we head in.
question in the chat, Jerry, around power savings. Does it matter which state someone's in to obtain those savings that you were talking about? And because some customers have multiple locations.
Yeah, there are two elements of electricity savings, or gas and electric.
Mhm.
One is procurement. There are about 17 states in the U.S. that allow for competitive energy shopping, if you will. Most of them are located in the Northeast. They are considered a deregulated state. Texas is another, Ohio, Illinois, but predominantly in the Northeast. So that's called procurement, as was alluded to earlier. It's basically transactional. This is my rate today. What can you do for me tomorrow? What can you do for me? Can we maintain that rate from a budget certainty perspective throughout the next 3 years, 5 years? So those clients, larger end users in Ohio, Texas, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Northeast areas can take advantage of procurement. So that's number one. Number two is general consumption. Many of the solutions that we referred to earlier deal with consumption. We want to reduce the consumption of energy by using IoT sensors that can detect water leaks, that can help um, with automation, with temperature control. Those areas, like the harmonic filters, can reduce consumption anywhere from 10 to 20%. So we're not really changing the rate of the electricity or the kilowatt hours, but we're changing, lowering the actual consumption. It truly equates to cost savings, but it's not vis-a-vis with a rate, but with consumption. Hope that answers the question.
It does.
And that's
Thank you.
available throughout the US.
Yeah, I was just going to say that pretty much besides the procurement that's deregulated in about 17 states, all our other products pretty much we could do throughout the whole entire country.
Which leads to what one of the areas that I alluded to earlier is uh, when was the last time you did a utility audit? I don't know if anyone does utility audits. With the utility audit, we can go back, identify cost savings or misclassification of clients. So if you take someone in New Jersey, there are three solutions for you. One, an audit that can go back and find and do rebates for you in a contingency basis. In New Jersey, it's a deregulated state. We can help you with procurement, and C, we can help you with consumption. So if you're in one of those lucky 17, there are three areas we can help you with. However, if you're in Utah, Wyoming, Georgia, there are only two, but those are two big ones. You still can cut in consumption, and we could still help with the audit. Anything else, Rob?
No, that's it. Those are the only questions we have so far.
Okay, thank you. We'll continue with the pre-op. We had spoken about a few different vertical markets that really work strong for us. Retail is one, identifying the sensors. Occupancy sensor right here is really good for them. They want to know how many people are coming in and out the door. Um, HVAC as a HVAC is considered a sensor, believe it or not. Lighting. These are areas that really work well from a sensor perspective in a retail store or manufacturing facility. Office buildings, from a property management perspective or REITs, those are some of the larger folks that we deal with on a day-to-day basis. Cushman Wakefield, CBRE are two large organizations that we're working with now in cost consumption, and also with IoT sensors. Hospitality, our hotels are probably the best vertical market for us because we can deal with pretty much anything that they're looking for, from consumption, procurement, sensors through temperature, through water leak detection, through water consumption, and battery backup and storage. No one who's 24 by 7 wants to be down at all. So, hospitality, medical care centers, those are tremendous applications for us. There are many others, but those are the ones, manufacturers, obviously, another that we had spoken about earlier. Those are the hot areas from a vertical market perspective that we've had much success with. This is just a slide that shows, and I referred to this earlier about the visibility. Facilities managers really need to see what's going on within their individual buildings. What can we do to help? Well, first of all, we need to measure what's going on, show you how we can work it to your advantage and save money. The real-time energy monitoring, identifying waste of energy, which energy consumption, which will really help uh, create a great environment, and supporting demand response, which you can turn this into a revenue sharing opportunity. In this particular slide, we just want to let everyone know that the old way and reactive is not what you should be doing. The new way, being able to for a facilities manager to look at all their different locations, and show different ways that they can help and save money. But again, you need to act on this. Um, Free analysis. Rob's company can certainly work with you on that for pretty much anything from telecom to IT to cloud, and now through energy and energy efficiencies. So this is we'll share this deck with everyone later, I'm sure, right, Rob?
Yes, that's correct. We'll be sending this out.
Okay. Final Q&A before we lead on to closing.
I don't see any other questions right now.
Well, that's fine.
If
If
not,
no one
yeah,
has any questions, please, you can feel free to send in delayed questions. We'd be glad to answer anything.
that'd be great. So before we close, just for everyone, if you're interested in a building assessment, energy assessment, those are two things that Abundance specializes in. And it's really something that we can use, start by just getting some utility bills together over the last 12 months and some facility information. And then their team can put some quotes together and actually do some assessments to find those inefficiencies across one building or many buildings in your environment. And with that, please reach out to any three of us if you have any questions. We're open to continuing the conversation forward around any of these topics that we just touched on, especially energy, because it's such a hot topic across the globe, especially here in the US, and then definitely some single panes of glass on the IoT side. I know a lot of our customers are clamoring for this to get a visibility within their buildings.
Hey, Brett,
With
let me just
that,
jump in.
mhm.
Let me just
Yeah,
jump in
sure.
real quick. When we go into utility expense management, I think Jerry mentioned it to you, but we could go back based on the state. We could go back sometimes 2, 3 years and actually audit your utility bills. It's a contingency basis, so it doesn't cost you any money. But if you're spending a lot of money on electricity, gas, waste management, anything like that, we could actually do that for you. It's a free consultation and we'll evaluate it for you. And they just take a percentage of the savings. So it's pretty much it's all on contingency basis. Nice thing about it is you could go back a number of years based on the states. Some states are 3 or 4 years you could go back. We actually could get money for you too. So just keep that in mind if you want to do like a utility audit. Doesn't cost you anything. They just take a contingency basis on that. So just to give you a heads up.
That's great, great information. Um, all right. If there's no other questions, Jerry, Danny, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing this information. We'll definitely be in touch. And if anyone has any questions, please reach out.
Sounds great. Have a good day,
Thank
guys.
you, Rob.
Thank you, everyone.
Take care.
Bye now.